Okay.
Um. Okay. It's fine. Okay. Um. So how you guys doing?
We're doing good. Good. I'm ready for it to warm up. I'm ready for spring.
Same.
How about you all?
Well,
Yeah.
I have tons of projects on deck for the yard. I have a basement door to build, and then another door. I mean, Brenda, you've been to my place. There's that door to there's steps down into the basement from the outside. I got to rebuild those doors
Yep.
again, and then the door at the very bottom of those steps, I got to put a new one because that just leaks so much air.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna redo the chicken and duck areas. I just have a laundry list of things to do. We gotta tear the liner out of the pool and put a new one in. So, and it all comes with,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything
cost.
costs money. Everything costs money. Breathing costs money. So yeah, but Rain, Shane's house, he has like all of this land and he has like this big old antique barn and he's got some other like another apartment house thing going on and he's got a big beautiful pond and just, how old is your house?
It's like 1850.
1850. It's beautiful.
It's
So,
it's it's a small
yeah.
farmhouse log. They, I actually don't know what the age is, just because they estimate on the like the mortgage and all that good stuff. I think they just say, okay, 1850 is good enough for me. So one day I'd like to, get like the exact age and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's only
Yeah.
like 1.3 acre, so it's
Oh,
not
okay. Well, it looks huge to me.
it's not that much, but it's and I never thought that it was that much to take care of until I had to take care of it, and boy, I'm glad
Yeah.
we don't have more because I
Yeah.
mean just the vegetation, keeping that cut back.
Yeah.
I have all kinds of work. I spent almost all year, all summer last year, cutting down all that honeysuckle along
Oh,
the one road. So it's all
yeah.
gone, but now I got to rebuild the fence that the honeysuckle destroyed.
Oh, nice.
Oh man,
Nice. So yeah, Rain, we're ready for spring
yeah,
and
man.
ready to get busy doing stuff outside and hopefully doing some shows maybe. We'll see how all that goes. But yeah, how about you? How are you doing today?
Meh. Found out that I
Yeah.
had. You know how I had like a septum piercing at one point. Well, I took it
Yeah.
out yesterday just to like see if I could get back in, and it closed on me. So now I have to get it re-pierced. And honestly, I sobbed because of it. But
Oh
at
man,
least we
that's
got
gonna
like a
hurt, girl.
free. It didn't hurt that much to get it done. It hurt too much to get healed. But
Oh yeah.
I could live with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I couldn't do it, girl. You got more courage than me. No.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it'll be warmer out that when I have to get repeals because when I first got repeals like mid-January, I walked outside and it was freezing
Yeah.
and my nose
Yeah.
immediately went numb.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I bet. All right, so you got some questions for us regarding
Yep,
anatomy of the sacred.
I actually somehow found the actual questions themselves. So we have a notebook full of questions now. Um, so number one, how do you guys meet?
How did we meet? Well, Mr. Shane, I'll let you take this away and I'll
Okay,
jump
yeah.
in when I
Um,
need to.
without going into the full history of things, I got to a point in my career that I was interested in doing something different. I spent a lot of time, a lot of years playing classic rock, so I decided I found Nightwish, and they inspired me to go with symphonic metal, female fronted. Um, I started one band, Tragica, and we decided to move on with a different vocalist, and we had put and I honestly I know we talk about this each time. I don't honestly remember where the ad was put in, maybe PA musician or something, but Brenda and a few others had reached out. So without a lot of description, Brenda came down and really impressed us, and she got the job. Like, that was hands down. It was just really no real competition, if you will. And I know I told the story last time, but I'll tell it again, that she aced the interview and the audition. And I forget how long it was until you told us this story, but you kind of told us nonchalant. She said, "Oh yeah, um, the the songs that you asked me to do at audition, I only learned those songs that morning." And she did that well, only learning them now. That's not to say that everybody should wait to the last minute to do things, but it just kind of shows you how good she was at it. And she'll tell you that this was not really material that she was
No,
super familiar with, but you
no.
wouldn't really have known by the audition. It was especially Epica, the song Never Enough, that we thought that was a good song to test like the range of vocalist. And boy, by the end of that song, she really nailed that note. And I think we did all kind of look at each other like, holy crap, that was great. So that's how we met. And then yeah, we just to kind of move on after that. Yeah, that band Shades of Autumn lasted for a while, and then Brenda and I, we were looking to do some more original material, and we just decided, we wanted to branch out on our own, and that's where Anatomy of the Sacred began.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, and it's something that neither one of us would have ever have dreamt of. And yeah, when I found the ad, I didn't recognize any of the music or the artists that he had listed in the ad, and the email that he sent me to follow up didn't recognize any of them except for Evanescence, and I knew that I loved Evanescence and I can sing Evanescence. And so I'm like, I am totally interested in this. But I was really scared because I had never sang symphonic metal. And symphonic metal and metal music does not have a very good reputation, especially in the Midwest. I mean, it's, something that when I told my family that I was doing that music, they were like, what? They were just like not okay with it. But I've introduced them to the genre, and now there's a lot of people that just absolutely love it. In fact, we have fans that are in their 60s and 70s that listen to our music because they just absolutely love it. They don't even really think of it as metal or symphonic metal, because there's just such a beauty to it. And that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with it as well. I mean, not all of it is great, but there's a lot of really, really good music out there that I had never been exposed to until I met Shane. So I am so thankful that our paths crossed, and that was back in 2011.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've been working together since 2011. So that's pretty awesome, because a lot of relationships in music don't last very long, especially if you're writing and performing and you know uh, publishing your music and all that kind of good stuff. Usually those relationships don't last that long, and people go in different directions. Now, with that being said, I mean, Shane and I do different stuff on the side. Like, he's involved in other bands and I'm involved with other bands and projects, and but we still have Anatomy of the Sacred as kind of our baby. And so yeah, that's kind of our backstory.
Do you guys know what month? Because I want to say, depending on what months you guys have been making music, almost as long as I've been alive.
When were you born?
January 7th, 2011.
Really? Oh, God, that is so. So I don't know what month it was, but yeah, it probably was not long into 2011. Um, oh, that's so funny. Yeah, because I think it was Shane. It was wintertime. Whenever wasn't it wintertime when I auditioned for you guys? Do you
uh,
remember?
I don't recall. I mean, this was down at Ryan's compound, and
Yeah.
It was out in that workshop or that garage warehouse, I should call it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't remember it being hot, but I don't remember it being snowy. But I thought I remembered it being cold. So, you
right.
know, yeah, you never know, Rain. Maybe we did start around the time you were born.
Yeah. I was like born the first snow of the year, so it's kind of ironic. I hate snow. I
Yeah,
hate
I'm on
winter.
my my home computer, and I'm actually kind of like, hey, can I share some cool images or something? I'm looking back through. I'm finding stuff on Tragica, and so I'm gonna look on Shades of Autumn to see what I can find. What I have on this computer. I have a pretty old drive as a backup, an old IDE drive, but let's see what I can find if I could find something and share it while we're doing this.
Oh,
But
that would be funny. That would be funny. All right, Miss Rain, what else you got for us?
What was you guys' childhood dreams?
Childhood dreams. I always wanted to be a singer and an archaeologist. Archaeologist is from seeing the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I think everybody back then who saw that for the very first time, they automatically wanted to be an archaeologist.
it was cool.
But
I
yeah,
mean, Harrison Ford was a cool. I mean, he was a manly kind of guy. He did all kinds of adventures, and he was he always got the girl, and he always
yeah,
so yeah, that
yeah,
makes
I thought it
sense.
was just the coolest thing ever. But I've always wanted to sing ever since I was little. I mean, I've been singing. My family has. It's always been about music, and my mom's side of the family anyway. Um, and so yeah, I've been singing pretty much my whole life, and always wanted to do it full time. Wasn't sure how or when or where, but I actually started singing more professionally when I was a teenager in high school. And when I say professionally, meaning I got paid to do it. Um, and just from there, it kind of just grew. I started singing in church, and then I moved to Lebanon, Missouri, outside of Springfield, Missouri, and that was my first time singing with a band out of Springfield, a classic rock band, and um, and then I ended up moving here in 2010, and the rest is history. But yeah, I always wanted to be a singer and songwriter. So what about you, Shane? What'd you want to be?
Well, maybe I should have thought about. Whoops, should have thought about a couple of those things. Stop it! I'm trying to. Um, trying to do two things at once. What did I want to be? I'll be honest. There's a lot of the stuff from childhood that I can't say that I remember, but I honestly don't feel like I was ever um, that I ever wanted to grow up and be something. I was just kind of existing. Um, of course, you get into your teenage years and so forth. Um, I mean, I did want to play guitar. I started playing guitar about 16 or something. I don't know if it was because of Jason Voles, guy I went to school with. Of course, it was the coolest thing at the time. He had black and white Vans on his shoes, and he comes out with an old Gibson Explorer, and I forget what's. I think he might have played some Van Halen or something for the talent show, and oh man, that was the coolest. Um, so yeah, I mean, you could say that there was moments like that. It's like, oh, that would be cool to do. Wouldn't that be cool to play guitar? And I bought an old junk Montoya was the brand, an old junker, and I beat the daylights out of it, put new pickups in it, painted it a checkered color. I think it was blue, like a blue and red color. But yeah, anyways, I'm kind of getting off the subject. I honestly can't think that I wanted, when I was thinking about what I wanted to be in life. Um, I mean, if you really want to back me into a corner, when I was about ready to graduate from high school, I was like, okay, well, I got to pick something. I like electronics. I like computers. And I went to DeVry. We went out to Columbus, I think it was, and then uh, uh, just toured the campus, my dad and I, and then we also went to a place up in Camp Hill, and I chose that. It was Computer Learning Network, and really, honestly, I'm glad that I did. I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely done well for me. I don't regret it at all, and yeah, it's gotten me to where I'm at today. I'm very pleased with um, it's allowed me to progress through life, provide for my family. I have one daughter, and then when I married my wife, she has 3 kids, so very provided very well, and even today,
Mhm.
it's done well. So I don't know if that is the exact same thing, but it's related.
Well, I mean, I'm thankful that you did that because he's just a genius when it comes to programming from a music perspective, and having that background in technology is huge. I mean, I think he would have navigated to that point anyway, even if he hadn't have gone to school. Um,
Maybe.
but yeah, it's been a huge plus for us in multiple projects, having that background. So yeah. All
Yeah.
right, Miss Ray, what you got?
Um, who inspired you to make music?
Who inspired us to write music?
Write, make, whatever.
Okay, Shane, you want to take that?
Okay, there are a lot. Um, that's you know people when it's a good question. I'm not faulting your question, but I want to remind sometimes when people ask, what's your favorite band or favorite, that's really difficult. It's almost like your favorite food. There's so many bands and the genres of music and so forth. But um, I mean, I started with classic rock and expanded to symphonic metal, and I listened to a good bit of death metal, black metal, and so forth. But um, who would really inspire me? I would say, as a musician, Geezer Butler, on bass, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. Well, yeah, Geezer Butler with Black Sabbath, but Steve Harris with Iron Maiden. Those are two like inspirations bass wise. Bands, of course, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, Kansas. There's a laundry list of classic rock, but when you talk about like the orchestral metal, of course, Nightwish, The Lane, Within Temptation, some
Mhm.
Lacuna Coil. I mean, there's really a laundry list. So it's hard to really pin anything down to anything specific. And I'm sure you weren't saying, hey, there only can be one, but yeah, it's a lot. There's so many different genres, and even okay, if you go back farther, when you talk about symphonic metal, well, where does part of that come from? Symphonic, symphony. Of course, I played trombone back in elementary, middle, and high school, and that gave me a great foundation in symphonic music and music structure. That's one, at least 50% of symphonic metal. Of course, I
Yeah.
really like metal. The classic rock was almost always hard rock. And then when I got to Nightwish, it's like, wow, I couldn't believe that somebody brought those two things together. And really, I could also say Hailstorm would be one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
not their material I think is more considered hard rock. But when and this is before they really took off. We saw them several times and talked to them. Just absolutely wonderful, down to earth people. Um, but they were really also like, man, chicks can rock too, man. And that's part of it that was like inspirational. Well, you know, that's her voice and the strength of her voice was
Mhm.
impressive. And then when you hear Tarja or Taresia, however you pronounce it, uh, and some of the Charlotte Wessel, Sharon, I forget her last
Bernadette
name. Yeah, from Within
within
Temptation.
Temptation. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
yeah there and Hailstorm kind of got it started and headed, my inspiration towards that kind of material. Um, and then it's kind of like the wind underneath the sails or the wind underneath the wings is when you really get to Nightwish and those kind of bands. Sorry, that was a
Yeah.
long-winded way to get to it, but what
But
about
when when did you actually start writing music though? Like what made you take a stab at it?
Oh, good grief. This was back. My parents had an old out of tune piano in the basement, like many parents would, and we're down there banging on that thing. So I would be banging on that. I think we also invented the garden hose French horn. So, you know, you take a trombone mouthpiece and you put it in the end of a garden hose, and which is coiled like a French horn, and then you have a funnel. So, and we had cardboard boxes, and my brothers and I would just be in the basement with a cassette recorder, push the play and record button at the same time, sit that there, we're banging on stuff, banging on the piano. So I don't know if you'd call that writing songs, but we were certainly trying,
Yeah.
we were certainly doing our best to make it sound like we knew what we were doing. I think we even called ourselves organized noise or something stupid like that. But so, yeah. And there would be, in fact, there's songs that I've written that the riffs have been in my head for, decades. The one song I can't remember the name of the song. That there's just some riff that I had in my head that it stayed in my head for years. I don't know if you can even hear that, but it was just a simple, stupid riff that I'm like that stayed in my head for the longest time until I had better gear to record it. You know what I mean? And even
Yeah.
then, it was pretty. My grandma passed away years ago, and she had an old organ, and it was a grandma organ. It was one of those ones that every grandma has in their house at that time. And I inherited that, so I played a bunch of songs on the Shane Kraut first album, and that was on a bunch of those songs, and it yeah, it sounds like a grandma organ. So yeah.
Love it. So, Raine, I never knew that story. I just learned that with you. So that's awesome. I love it. Oh my God, that's funny. Well, for me, I always wanted to write music, but I thought because I didn't play an instrument, I didn't think I could ever do that because I just didn't. I always correlated writing music with being a musician in terms of like playing an instrument. And I don't play any instruments. I mean, I can tinkle around on the keyboard just enough to kind of like figure out how to write something, but not like to actually play. But I actually started, well, I remember my mom, somebody gave her a really kind of clunky portable organ. Um, and I remember playing around on that a little bit, and I wrote my very first song on that, and I think I was probably about 8 years old,
Was that a
maybe.
Casio?
Um, and yeah, and I played that for my mom, and I didn't really think a whole lot of it. But then from there, I remember being in church one day. This is when I was much older, obviously. Um, and our music pastor's wife asked me if I would take a look at some lyrics that she wrote because both of them were songwriters. And I remember looking at her lyrics, and I just wrote down like a ton of notes on, okay, this is what I would do differently. This is how I would structure the song, that kind of stuff. And she's like, Brenda, I think you need to start writing music. And I'm like, really? She's like, do you want to start writing music with me? And I'm like, yeah. So I learned a ton from her because obviously, you know, music pastor, music pastor's wife, um, and of course they knew all about writing music and we performed a lot of the songs that they wrote. And then we ended up writing and performing a lot of the stuff that we all wrote together as a group. And so that's kind of where it started. But from there, I started writing for myself personally and writing from personal experience. And that was back in the 90s, I think it was. Um, so yeah, and from there I've just kind of grown in it. And with Shane and I working together, it just gives us more of an opportunity to grow as well as songwriters. And because where he can do things that I can't. I can do things he can't. And then, of course, we complement one another in lots of ways. And we've just learned an awful lot by, having that partnership. So, yeah. And not everybody can write music with partners. A lot of people that write have to write by themselves. Now, both of us can write by ourselves, but when it comes to like the musical side of it, I need somebody obviously that can do the programming and the musical side of it. But Shane, he's a composer in his own right. He can write, he can record, he can do all the instrumentation. The only thing I think he probably is missing is the vocals. So
Oh, I'm offended.
that's where I come in.
No, just kidding. No, you're absolutely right. That's where
I'm a vocalist, but not a lead vocalist. So.
no.
All right.
Oops.
Wow, this is like the same questions from last time. I have not thought of anything new.
Yep, don't worry about it.
Yeah. What's your guys' dream band to open for?
Dream band to open for, yeah, Heart and Evanescence. I don't want to steal anything from Shane, but Hailstorm would be another one. Yeah, so Heart would be at the top of the list for me simply because that's kind of my dream band, and I love the vocals and I love the songs, and Ann Wilson is like, one of my favorite people. I remember meeting her one time at a VIP, and when I saw her walking towards me, I mean, I literally lost my breath and like got tears in my eyes because I was just like, oh my God, I'm meeting Ann Wilson. So yeah, oh my God, if we ever got to play with them, that would be, you might as well just kill me afterwards. I would have lived a happy life. So how about you, Shane?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think, like I said last time, this is close to the kitty cat's dinner, so they're gonna, especially the gray one, is gonna be jumping up and bugging me the whole time. But, um, well, with my classic rock background, there's a handful that would have been great. Of course, like my high school yearbook quote was "Stay forever heavy and play for Black Sabbath," but of course that's never going to happen. But it's ironic, they are planning another yet one more
Yeah.
farewell set, but I think Ozzy said he's not going to play a whole set with them. But um, I almost always gravitated towards bands that weren't as popular as others. Like for example, good example was Uriah Heep. I mean, many people have heard The Wizard or Sweet Lorraine, things like that, Easy Living. But I mean, they have maybe 20 albums, 15 to 20. And that would have been great to meet him. I think Mick Box, the guitarist, is one of the guitarists that is under appreciated. But I, I never really cared for a lot of the mainstream hard rock bands, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, and so forth. I just kind of I didn't want to hear the same song over and over again, and so yeah. But that would be one Uriah Heep. But I've if you kind of talk about the symphonic metal, I've always really like Delane I've really connected with their material. When now they, of course, they have another vocalist that sounds very much like Charlotte Wessels, but it's not Charlotte Wessels. And
Yeah.
so obviously we're never going to open for Delane with Charlotte Wessels, but
Right.
that's something, you know, everybody that plays this kind of material would certainly want to meet Nightwish, and I kind of feel like it should be the Nightwish with Tarja and Marco, the
Yes.
original.
The original.
Uh,
Yeah.
but even Floor has made it just a whole new experience, if you will. I've always appreciated her material, even back when she was with After Forever. Um, there's anyways, I'm kind of getting off the subject. Yeah, those are some of the bands that would really um really be great to and maybe I'll tell this real quick. When I was with the one classic rock band Legacy, we opened for BTO. Now that was when you say open for, a lot of times that is you played on the same stage or the same ticket as them. So I forget where the hell it was, but it was a outdoor gig. And yeah, there's where their tour bus was, and they stayed there the whole time. And we got it, we played, and maybe another band or whatever. And then we're kind of hanging around background, the craft services tent, drinking beer and shoveling sandwiches in, and there they go. So I mean, sometimes opening for that's what it entails. You don't
Yeah.
really get to hang out with the headliner or talk to them or whatever. But sorry, I'm kind of getting off
Yeah.
the subject a little bit.
Well, I tell you what, I would just be thrilled to have some of those folks just listen to our music,
Oh,
you know? I mean,
and don't
I mean, it would be like,
don't
you can,
don't forget,
you know.
Brenda. Anatomy of the Sacred opened for Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
Oh yeah, that's right. At the Chameleon Club. That's right. We
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Um,
And he loves us. He loves us. I'm like, oh,
yeah, the lead singer was really cool. The funniest thing, I love this one, is where they get on stage and they're playing a gig and they have a kind of a running joke, I think, amongst everybody. If somebody messes up, then they have a wig that they have to wear. Remember that,
I don't
Brenda?
remember that.
Yeah, somebody messed up, and I think it was the lead vocalist. He's like, "Damn it," and he's cursing, but he's like, "Okay, now I got to wear the wig of shame or whatever." So the next song he had to perform with this stupid wig, and
Oh
then
my
he's like,
God, I don't remember that.
"Okay, now that that's over with, okay, now I'm not going to mess up the rest of the." So I took it off. I think that's how it went, but yeah, distinctly remember that. And then like backstage, they were stretching, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And the lead vocalist is stretching. He's like, "Yeah, man, we're all ancient. We gotta get limber and stuff for getting up on stage." I forget what he said, but he was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, they were super nice to us,
They're
and
fun.
I tell you what, the one thing that people don't realize is that performing like that, it really is a very physical activity. You really do need to be in good shape. You really need to be able to perform and bring a show. And oh my God, when we performed at the Chameleon Club, it was so hot. That was the hottest venue I have ever, 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 ever performed in. It was terrible. It was awful. And I remember my voice cracking because it was just, and I never have any vocal problems ever. But that place was hot. But it was so cool that we got to perform there. And it was cool that we got to meet the dudes from Jimmy's Chicken Shack. Some people don't know who that is, but I think they were famous in the 90s. Is that right? Was it the
um,
90s?
90s or 2000s. I know after this, Raine
Yeah.
might be going.
They were kind of grungy, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, remember that kid? That was a meme. Back when Justin Timberlake performed at the Super Bowl, and it was a meme where it had a picture of that kid where he's like, "Who is Justin Timberlake?" Remember that? Um,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Rain is going to be type. Who is Jimmy's Chicken Shack? She'll be searching on that later.
No,
Ah,
I actually already did.
oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
except I did it on like Spotify.
Yeah.
that's funny. Well, I didn't know who they were until we were going to be performing with them, and I had to do the same thing.
I
I had
I
to look them
forget.
up, but they didn't know who we were either. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I've seen one of my like favorite song artists in like this extremely hot venue up in Philly, and it was just I was sweating. The person I was
Oh,
with, I like came to meet someone that I was like I talked to sometimes online, and obviously we both liked this band. I liked them. My parents liked them. Um, so yeah, but I ended up meeting the guy. He was really cool. Um,
yeah.
Moonwalk was really cool. Sweetheart,
Very
absolute
cool.
sweetheart. Um, yeah, it
Yeah.
was extremely hot, and since my
I don't know
dad,
why you don't pay more attention to that kind of stuff. I mean, seriously, it's hard on musicians and vocalists if I mean, you don't want it freezing cold in there, but you definitely don't want it hot. So,
yeah,
yeah,
those
it's
singers
hard
treat
on
us well.
instruments. It's hard on instruments and it's hard to perform, especially if you're wearing all kinds of cool wardrobe and stuff. And now I understand why people go out there and they're like stripped down to hardly nothing. You know, when you got the lights shining on you and then, there's tons of people in the room and there's no air circulation and yeah, I get it. So,
Yeah, honestly, I believe the on instruments. I have like two instruments at this moment. One I don't know how to play. The other one I actually do know how to play. Um,
and they are
Bass and acoustic guitar.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Shane is a wonderful bass player. Wonderful bass player. So
Well,
if you
thank
ever
you.
need any tips or anything, you just reach out to him because he'll guide you in the right direction.
Well, like I said, the other call, learn the basics. I mean, yeah, Beatles would absolutely, you know, almost any Beatles. That's like a lot of foundational work. But yeah, I mean, old 60s blues and so forth, there's just so much to be learned there. And if you can do the basic blues progression, there's so much rock and roll that's based on that. And there's so much you can, I mean, one of the great things about the bass is there's a lot you can do to improvise. You know, if you're just doing root, third, fifth, and so forth, fourth, fifth, um, there's a lot of walking around you can do. It's that's the creative part about playing bass that you're going to have like an AC/DC band that's dun 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 versus there's just I'm trying to think of a good example. There's just well, I would say some Zeppelin that there's a lot of creativity in taking that route fourth and fifth and walking around. But anyways, I'm just not making a lot of sense here. But yeah, bass
Fine.
is a lot of fun.
It is.
My absolute all-time favorite bass riff, and Shane should know this because I've said this a million times. All-time favorite bass riff is the bass line in No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne. That is the best bass line, in my opinion, that's ever been written, ever. I love that, love that, love that, love it. So, Rain, if you can ever play that, you better let me know because I want to hear it.
But what?
I would.
How about? I wouldn't say this is necessarily a bass riff, but the riff in, if you talk about Ozzy, is Perry Mason.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Okay.
know. No,
I
you
love
Okay.
can.
Ozzy.
I would definitely give you No More Tears is a great bass line, but yeah, there's a lot of really good bass riffs in Ozzy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm personally a big fan of Typo Negative, and I
Mhm.
picked up bass because of Pedal Steel, only to find out that his bass is not East Standard, so I don't know how June. So
Yeah. Yeah. Peter Steele definitely did some different stuff with his bass, with just the tunings and the tone. It wasn't just here's a standard. I'll be honest, I don't know what bass he played. The cover band we played in, I played keys, and I could cheat. So with the keyboard, I'm pretty sure you know that you can transpose. So
yeah.
um, I I would transpose into whatever key was convenient for me. Now the Nightwish tribute that Brenda and I are in. Luckily, almost everything is in D, G, blah blah blah. There's a couple when they modulate to like in I mean there's a boatload of chords in Ghost Love Score. There's a
Oh,
lot of B flat minor. That's not huge amounts of fun. But then in later on in Ghost Love or not um, Phantom of the Opera, that modulates to a bunch of different keys, is E flat minor, and that is just the worst key. Um, but anyways, we're getting off the subject. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Typo is a really interesting band, and their music again, like I said on the last call, there's nothing. No, I don't think that there's ever been a band after them that's really captured that um,
Mm-mm.
that tone and that feel
No,
like they did. I mean, there's so many different bands that have produced a similar sound. It just doesn't compare. It
no,
probably never will either.
no. I never knew anything about Typo Negative until I met Shane. And some of the songs are kind of creepy, but my absolute favorite one of theirs is is it Black Number One?
Yeah, Black Number One.
Black Number One. Love that song. Love, 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 love that song. Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, Shane was in a Typo Negative cover band
Yeah.
called Negative Steel, and the Nightwish tribute band that we have right now that we are prepping for shows is called Wishmaster, the Nightwish Experience. So Raine, you and your family are going to have to come out and see us.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to let you know. We'll be posting stuff, online about it. But you'll have to come out and see us because we'd love to see
Yeah.
you in the audience. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of like Type of Negative, did you guys hear that Kenny Hickey, their guitarist, wants to do tribute shows for Peter? The thing is, the hardest thing about that is not just his bass tone, but how the heck are they gonna get their keyboardist back?
Yeah, yeah. Isn't I think I saw that Josh is EMT in New
Yeah,
York City and Brooklyn.
yeah, he's the EMT in like Brooklyn. So like, how are they gonna get him back? Like, come on, he's a retired
Well,
musician.
I would step in. I could stand in for him. I probably wouldn't look as cool as he did, but sorry, what I'm trying to do, I had to go grab one of my backup drives. I'm trying to grab some old shades,
Oh,
images
some
or
pictures
something.
from, yeah, yeah,
I'll see if I can
yeah.
find something. I I have a
Understandable.
I have an old drive, an old IDE external drive, and I have this small A-Data 1 terabyte backup drive, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not I'm not trying to be like do something else, but I was just trying to find some cool stuff.
Give me like
Anyways,
2 seconds. Give me like 2 seconds. I gotta go do something. You guys like quiet down? I can hear you.
We're on hold right now.
yeah. Well, here, let me see if I can share this. I know this is not. I don't do the. Here we go. We can do the share. You can. Sharing is not turned on. Can you turn sharing on?
Oh, I guess. How do I do that? Let's see here. Hold on just a second. More. Host tools.
Yeah, I'll do this.
Share.
I
Okay,
said,
hold on. Multiple, yeah, can share simultaneously. See if does that let you do it?
let me see. Share. Here we go.
Okay, cool.
Can you see that?
No.
No.
No. Oh, I have to click on the share button.
Oh, okay. Shane has started. Oh, look at
Yeah, so that's old timey Tragica. So that's Corey and Ryan. Yeah, Corey and Ryan were also in Shades of Autumn. Jess was there, and then, like I said, we decided to bring another vocalist in, and that's where Brenda's head would appear if we were Tragica
yeah,
with Brenda. So
yeah. Oh wow. That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
So the image, let me see if I got to click on view details or something like that. Oh, come on, view. If I look at the details, that's from 2008,
Wow.
a
Wow.
million
So I didn't
billion
I
years
didn't
ago.
come I didn't come to Pennsylvania till 2010. What I just find fascinating is I was in the Midwest in Missouri, having no idea that Shane existed out here in Pennsylvania, having no idea that I was going to move to Pennsylvania. He didn't know anything about me at all, period. We didn't know we existed. And then we just happened to come together here in PA. So wildest thing ever. But I'm extremely thankful. So
Oh, here we go.
it's been
Here,
wonderful.
here's a couple of the. I'll share again here real quick. Now I know this is kind of preceding Brenda. Um, I'll share here quick, but here's a folder that had a bunch of the um,
Oh yeah.
material that Tragic was doing, but and a bunch of this we ended up doing in shades. But we have
Yeah.
the Tower, Darkwell, Divine Madness. There's Evanescence. Gretchen was kind of a cool band. I think they're a Christian band. There's some Lacuna Coil, some older stuff. Um, I don't think we ever did
Yeah.
that one. Mazaria,
Swamp.
that was a
We did do Swamp. Yep.
okay.
And
Yeah.
Daylight Dancer. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Oh, such good
our
songs.
yeah, just some cool stuff. Yeah, I just searched on uh one of my backups out there. Oh,
Nice.
I don't. Okay, I'm not gonna. I'm kind of getting off the subject here and here. So Raine, sorry for.
It's okay, man.
But there's a lot of good music there that you can check out. I think you'd like it.
Hmm.
So,
Anyways, um, with streaming services being the way they are, it's important to make albums or a single every once in a while.
so we talked about this last time, and from a business perspective, there's really not a lot of return on investment when it comes to doing albums. And the attention span of your audience is that you just don't have. I mean, you've got about 3 seconds to grab somebody's attention when they're listening to your music, and then they're going to move on if you don't grab their attention. So the only reason really for making albums is for a audience that follows you on a regular basis, your loyal fan base, who would actually buy them. Now I know that LPs are becoming more popular now, but again, there's not a lot of return on investment on those. Um, so putting out singles um, keeps your audience, keeps their attention. It also allows you to release songs individually so that they kind of can stand on their own. Um, and collectively you can take all those and create an album later on. But eh, everybody's streaming nowadays. Nobody's buying CDs anymore. Nobody's doing digital downloads. All of the places like Amazon and Spotify and Pandora, all those places, they're not housing music like they used to, in terms of storage. Um, they aren't keeping things in the cloud for you like they used to, so that you can, buy the actual download and all that kind of good stuff. They're wanting you to stream because it saves them money, um, on being able to publish the music. So, and of course, with streaming comes extremely little payment to the artist that has their music being played. I mean, like fractions and sometimes fractions of pennies that are paid to artists when their music is streamed on those services. So I really hope that with legislation, um, that the music industry needs to be revamped to keep up with the times in terms of where we're at with the internet and how people consume music, because the way that they consume music does not match how artists and composers and copyright holders are paid. I mean, it's sickening when Shane and I see statements from ASCAP or from TuneCore, because TuneCore is one of our music aggregators. Um, Seeing that we were paid like 4 cents from streams on YouTube, things like that. So yeah, it's unfortunately that's the way of the world right now. But I don't think we would ever put out an album unless there really was justification for it and we knew that we could sell at least enough to recoup our cost. Because there's a lot that goes into putting out an album. I mean, you have the artwork, you have the lyric sheets, you have all of the jacket, all that kind of good stuff. But um, with streaming, all you need is a digital image and for the album cover, and then you're done. So not that it's right or wrong, because I actually love albums. I love CDs. I love reading the jackets and looking at the artwork. But that's just not how the majority of people consume music nowadays. So Shane, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. It really is unfortunate that it's 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 like there's many things in the world that the people with um, at the top really call all the shots and make all the money, and all the smaller people. I think we talked about this before, where like for example, there's like an almost endless stream of musicians that will play for free or
Yeah,
play pay to play, things like that. Um, it's unfortunate that um, so many people feed off of that kind of structure.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, unfortunately, so many people have to go through it in order to get the other side and say, you know what, that sucks. I'm not going to pay to play.
yeah,
And uh, But anyways, getting back to like Brenda said, that yeah, the convenience of streaming. I mean, I can just literally take my phone out to the car and just stream whatever. Now, the nice thing is, I know that people are getting paid. The artists are getting paid, but they're getting paid very, very little.
yeah,
Even the major artists, your Taylor Swifts, obviously, are getting billions of streams. Not exaggeration. She's making the money from that, but yeah, the folks that even get hundreds of thousands or millions of streams equals $100 or $1,000 or whatever. It's just not enough to make a living. So
no.
it's very, very difficult.
Well, and it's sad too because there there's a lot of wonderful musicians, wonderful songwriters that because they can't make any money in the industry anymore, they have to have full-time jobs. So they do all their music on the side or on the weekends. And it's a bummer, but you would be shocked how many people, famous musicians, actually do that, but they don't have any choice. I mean, we've seen in the past, 5, 10 years, famous bands and famous songwriters selling their entire catalogs because they've recognized that it's more valuable now if they go ahead and sell all of their music to somebody else and they get the money now rather than waiting later on because they're not making any money off of it right now. They're not making any money off of, because of streaming services. So if they can get, $20 million for an amazing catalog, then that's $20 million in their pocket right now that they can have and they can have for their family or that they can invest. Whereas, if they hold on to their music, they're going to continue to be getting, pennies accumulating towards whatever amount they get, which is going to just dwindle as we continue to consume music through streaming services. So it's something's got to change, and it really does need to start with consumers, how we consume it, and if people realize what they're doing to the music industry by consuming it in this way, then maybe we would want to make more of a change. But we'll just have to see how that goes. But
Spotify actually got like sued for not paying the musicians much, but Spotify won the case, and now they just get to pay the musicians even less.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
wouldn't take years for me to rebuild my playlists, I would have switched from Spotify. But
Yeah.
it would take years of my life to
Yeah.
actually rebuild
They
those.
are the giant in the industry right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens as time goes on.
Yeah. Um. Anyways, give me 2 seconds to come me back down. Um. Are you guys self-published?
Yes, we are. Shane and I, when we started writing music together, we formed a LLC publishing company slash record label that we have a 50-50 partnership in a corporation called Matilda's Basement LLC. And that was designed to protect our music so that when we publish it or when we release it, we know that we're going to get paid royalties through TuneCore as our aggregator, and then also through ASCAP whenever, and ASCAP is our PRO, and that's who we utilize for that. But yeah, I had some unfortunate experiences in terms of songwriting earlier in my musical career where there was that type of partnership was not in place, and it ended up turning out to being it ended up being a really bad situation, and it destroyed a lot of relationships. And one of the things I told Shane was is that I will never go through that again, and if we form a partnership, I want it to be 50-50. I want it to be a legal partnership so that both of us are protected and that we can just be creative and not have to worry about the business side of things. So one of the things that you learn in school, if you go to school for music business, is make sure you have your ducks in a row before you need to have them in a row. Because if somebody likes your music, it, it and they want to license it from you or they want you to perform, you have to be ready before you are asked. Before if you're not ready, they're going to move on to somebody else or they're going to move on to the next song. So it's very important that you tend to the business side of music if you're going to take this seriously. If you're not going to take it seriously and you just want to do it on your own and you just don't care, who hears it, or you're just doing it for yourself, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to perform and you want to be paid for that, um, and you want to publish your music, you need to take it a little bit more seriously. So yeah, we take it seriously because we love it so much. If we didn't love it so much, we wouldn't worry about protecting it. And so yeah, that's what we've done. So Shane, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so. I mean, you were the driver of this from the beginning, and I think it made sense. It might not make sense at the time. Why do we need to spend all this money on getting legal documents signed? We met with I forget the legal representation. You probably remember them, but we met
Mhm.
up there at that Pizza Boy up in Lemoyne,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, Lemoyne or whatever the heck it was, and
Yeah.
we talked about legal crap, and it's like that's one thing that I don't care for that much, but thank goodness Brenda
Yeah.
had the foresight to think about that and make sure that the material was
Yeah.
protected. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's important too, Rain, because, let's say for instance, you publish your music and a film director hears one of your songs and wants to put it into a movie, which that does happen. If you don't have it registered with a PRO, um, publishing rights organization like ASCAP or BMI or CSAC, and you don't have it registered with the United States Copyright Office, they're not even going to touch you. I mean, if you don't have all of your what they call splits, which we have in place because we've split everything 50-50, if you don't have all that in place, they're not even going to talk to you because they don't want to end up in some type of legal issue. You have to have all that stuff done and ready to go if they want to use your music, if you got it all in a row and you're ready to roll, then boom, your foot's in the door. But you just never know when that will happen. So we wanted to be prepared for that because we are confident. We love our music and it's good stuff. It's not crappy music. And I'm really proud of what we've done. And um, Shane is an amazing composer. The last thing I would ever want to happen is for somebody to steal his music or misuse it in any way, shape, or form. And trust me, that won't happen with how we have everything set up. And if it does, we are very, very well represented. We actually had two attorneys that we worked with. One is a corporate attorney, which is the gentleman Buchanan, Ingersoll, and Rand is who we used, and they're based in Pittsburgh and Harrisburg. But we used a corporate attorney to draft the corporate agreement for the LLC, and then we used an entertainment attorney to handle the music side of the agreement and also to handle all the registrations and copyright registrations for our album, for the artwork for the album. He provided us with all of our agreements that we have for all of our musicians, for our photographer that we had to license the image for our album, for the gentleman that did all of our artwork to put it all together, for all of the graphics. All of those things go into registering your work for copyright purposes. You have to have a legal document with everybody signing off saying you have permission to use their stuff. For our musicians, all of our musicians are 1099 employees. So they do not have rights to the music, but they are paid for their time. And we have agreements in place that protect them, but also protect us as well for that whole entire process. So knowing all of that, it really paves a really good foundation of trust for us to work together as well as other people to work with us because they know they're not going to get screwed in any way, shape, or form. So that was a long explanation, but it's important if you're going to take it seriously.
Ditto.
He knows I love this stuff. He knows I love this stuff. He hates it, but I love it. So
That's why, you see that t-shirt there, Berkeley. That's exactly what she went, for. And so,
well, and the flip side of this, Raine, is Shane is the composer, and he can sit there for hours upon hours upon hours working on all of these individual tracks for all these orchestrations and all these arrangements. And I love that stuff, but not enough to do what he does. So we complement each other very well in this regard. So yeah.
it, real quick, I can have a real quick a diversion here again if you want to watch this. Let's see, we'll minimize this, and
Oh.
so here's oh, come on, I don't want to go into designer. Dynamic. Anyway, so here's a bunch of I found the footage from can you guys see that?
Yeah.
It's a beer. Is that me and you sitting at the table?
Yeah, this was the trip to Newfoundland.
Oh,
So
Newfoundland, yeah.
I'm gonna flip through. So that was at that was it Montreal or Toronto that we had a connection out of?
Yeah, Toronto, I think it was.
Yeah, so we ate some burgers, but there we are, another hotel or airport. But yeah, these are all just photos and stuff from that.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh God, I remember that. That was such a great trip. So Raine, the backstory to all of that is we went to Newfoundland and did a photo shoot with a very famous photographer, Renee Robin. She's phenomenal. And so yeah, she's the one that did the artwork or the photography for our album. Look at Shane, he looks great. Um, And so yeah, we got to go to Newfoundland and do a photo shoot with her. And there's a lot of her photography on our website and on our Facebook page and Instagram. So very cool. Look, we're getting ready for the photo shoot where we froze to death outside. Holy moly, it was cold.
Can you hear the audio?
Oh, no, uh-uh.
Okay, I didn't think so. Sometimes Zoom doesn't share the audio, but this, check out that little shack. That's basically where Renee rented some space to take photos,
Yeah.
and here's just
It was
some of
oh
the.
my God. Raine, you haven't seen Miss Brenda look like that before.
Nope, always seen you looking professional.
That was Renee. That was Renee helping me with my hair and stuff. So yeah, now she's doing photography. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, Shane, I didn't know you had all this. This is so cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This was all this stuff. I put together a bunch of that one photo, or not the one uh just montage up
That
there
is
from
so cool.
all this stuff here.
Yeah, look
There
at Shane's beard, man. Look, it's
with
it's I love your beard that way, and I love it the way that you're wearing it now. So, but you definitely, I like your hair white. Oh, look at that. So those are gray contacts, Raine. My eyes are typically brown. I mean,
but
they are
this
brown.
when you were saying how cold it was, let's get to we're up on the top of this hill. I think they call it a
Oh
Beacon
God.
Hill. And here's come on. It's just here's like a panorama. That's St. John's in Newfoundland. And we're on the top of this hill. There's this tower you can see right there. It kind of like a lookout tower, but we're right up here, and there's the Atlantic. So it
Oh, we
was
froze to death.
windy, and yeah, you can
That
see
is that's
Curtis.
Curtis. Yeah, Curtis is also a pretty famous photographer. He's done photography for National Geographic. He is officially the royal family's photographer when they come to Newfoundland.
Oh, no kidding, I
He's
didn't know
a
that.
yeah, yeah.
But there was some cool stuff. The other cool thing I can show you. Let me bring this down here. Remember the
Oh,
photo
I love
shoot we did in West York?
yeah. Yeah, those pictures are great. Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God.
A bunch of photos. Here's Brenda.
I've
But this
lost a
was in
lot of weight.
that old bread. I think it was an old bread factory or something like that.
Yeah.
Bakery,
It's a huge warehouse.
bread factory.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, this is just I'm just blasting through a bunch of these. I found a bunch of these photos.
Yeah, we didn't do any of this last time, Rain. So this is fun. Oh, look
Yeah,
at all of our logos. So we actually our graphic designer is a his specialty is branding for bands. So he created that logo for us and did all of our artwork. He's phenomenal. He's based in San Francisco. And his name is Shane Rice.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Okay, let's see if you can name where was this photo taken? Do you know, Brenda?
I I think if I recognize that rug that had the hole in the stage that my heel kept going through, is that is that bar 13?
It's bar 13.
Ah,
Brenda gets a biscuit for that. Yes, there you go. There's James. So the live crew, you can see
oh,
here's
they're
Kenny
wonderful.
and
Yeah,
James and Brett.
yeah, they're wonderful musicians. Wonderful.
Holy moly!
Yeah, there's a hole in the stage right there that my heel kept going into. It's covered by a
I
rug, but man, I was like trying not to kill myself on stage that night.
don't know why in the world I brought this trainer monoblock B head. I don't know why in the world I brought that amp. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was a couple other. Whoops.
So that was Bar 13 in Delaware.
Bar 13 in Delaware. Yeah.
Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
That was a good show.
here's another one. Can you guess this one? Oh, sorry.
Oh, that uh oh wait, that was oh,
Oh,
Don Williams. Don Williams. So Raine, do you know? Oh God, I look really fat there. But anyway,
oh, come on.
Raine, do you know the show called That Metal Show?
Not really.
No, your dad probably does. But anyway, Don Williams is the host, one of the hosts for That Metal Show. Who's the other host that handles that show?
Oh
I,
dear. I
he's
forget.
really, really famous. He's man, I can't remember his name though. He's more
Matt
famous than
Pinfield. I don't
Don.
know. No, it's not Matt Pinfield.
Yeah, I don't know his name. But what was the name of that place that what was that place called?
Brighton Bar.
Brighton Bar in Jersey, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yep.
can see the name in the background
Yeah.
there. Brighton Bar. Yeah, they closed
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Oh, they did. Oh, wow.
I think so. Yeah. There you
Wow.
go.
That's a
All
bummer.
right. Good
That was a good
times.
place.
So
Wow.
there you go. Thought I'd throw that in there
Goodness.
real quick.
Thank you. That was those good memories, man. Good memories. All right, Rain, what else you got for us while we move on closing this out?
Yeah. By about this time last time, we would have been halfway through my questions. It's fine.
Oh,
I have like 21, remember?
oh my God.
Yeah. What's your favorite song? What makes it special?
Favorite song that we've written and what makes it special?
Yeah.
Um, so last time we talked about this and we both pretty much agreed that it's Suicide Lake. Suicide Lake is our favorite. Shane, I'll let you kind of speak to that.
So, our favorite song is Suicide Lake because I feel it's one of the better songs that we've written. Not that the other ones are bad, but I'm really proud of it. The evolution of it was because of Brenda being a little stubborn and saying, "No, this can be better." So I brought the idea forth, and she's like, "Yeah, this is a great intro. I don't really like the rest of it." And then uh, I
You're
came
talking
back.
about the music, the composition, the musical composition for the song.
Yeah, it just she's like, well,
Yep.
I like the intro, but the rest of it doesn't seem to fit. And then I came back with another version, and she said, again, the rest of the song doesn't seem to fit. The intro is great. Keep the intro, but and then finally, when uh I have the third version, she's like, this seems to make sense now. It seems to follow, and the parts seem to fit. And then she came up with some really fantastic lyrics that absolutely nailed it. And the concept of Suicide Lake, um, there is a reason behind that. We won't go into, but honestly, the words that the lyrics that she put together, the vocal melody, really just it put the exclamation point on the whole song. It really made it work and made it so much better. So she kind of drove the song to be a better song and make more sense, and then added the lyrics, which it just it really brought it more and more to life. So what do you think as far as that goes, Brenda?
Well, I love how the song came into being. Shane, you want to tell him about your pond and about the birds?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to touch on that. Well, the short version is that there's a small we have two ponds. One is a little bit bigger, but the other one is smaller. And okay, I'll just say it. For some reason, birds kept on drowning, and I don't know why. They may have just come in for a drink and they couldn't get back out or something. I don't know. And one day I'm walking down to feed the chickens, and I'm like, wow, boy, I don't know why they're committing suicide, you know. And I thought Suicide Lake, oh, that sounds like a cool name for a song, and that's exactly where it came from. But then that went to I don't know if I found this after I came up with the name, but
Mhm.
the idea of suicide doesn't end the pain, it just gives it to someone else. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, those two concepts really go together,
Yeah.
and how there it is. So I think people, when songwriters come up with ideas, sometimes they have a concept or they have some kind of idea that then drives them towards the lyrics and or music. Sometimes music and lyrics come first, sometimes it all depends. But in this particular case, that concept came first, and then the
Yeah.
music was like, oh, okay, this music, it seems like it really marries with that concept. And then Brenda took that, and again, it all came together from there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's we're really proud of how that came together. I mean, because it just speaks to a lot of people, and I think it's helped a lot of people.
Hopefully.
Which is always the point of anything that we're writing. We want to try to help as many people as we can through music and not hurt anyone. Um, because I believe music can be really, really healing for people. And so I'm hopeful, and I know that that song has helped to heal folks who have experienced that. So,
Have you guys had performance? Have you guys had performance anxiety? I'm not sure what the heck Roberts just did.
say that again.
Have you guys had performance anxiety?
Oh, yeah. I get performance anxiety every single time. Every time. Um, yeah, I have to try to control that. I performed one time in front of a crowd of like 9, 10,000 people, and I forgot the lyrics, the second verse of a song. And when you're the lead vocalist and you're the performer for the band, that's not an option. And I remember it just terrified me, and it scarred me for life from that. I haven't gotten over that, and so I'm still absolutely paranoid about forgetting lyrics, and get anxiety before I go on stage. And so one of the things that I try to do, other than pray before I go on stage, is I try to do what they call a technique, that you take your finger and you tap the middle of your head, kind of in between your eyebrows, and it just kind of helps you focus and ground you a little bit. And so that kind of helps a little bit, but yeah. Shane, do you get nervous before you go on stage?
Yeah. I I don't understand why, but I feel like I get more nervous now than what I did before. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would
Too.
I would feel pretty comfortable on stage, early on when I first started performing. And I did get to, there was one moment, kind of like what you said, Brenda, that I got to, I'm standing on stage. I think it was at Creekside, in Seven Valleys, and I'm standing there playing, and I'm like, hey, everything's great, blah 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 blah, and I hit this brick wall. I'm like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to do right now, and I think we were playing like maybe Leonard Skinner or something. I'm like, my brain just went and blank,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
luckily I was able to kind of get through it. But and I think I had a moment like that before. In fact, yeah, I think it might have been in middle school playing trombone at one of those talent shows where I think I had to memorize the material. So I'm standing up there playing. I'm like, and I just started playing whatever. And I'm sure it sounded awful. I wish I'd have a recording to, you know, remember it. But anyways, yeah, I feel as I get older, for some reason, I get more nervous, and I get more. Now, some of the bands that I've been in, I've had a bit more responsibility. I haven't just had to stand up there and play bass, but
yeah,
there's
yeah,
yeah, the typically with anatomy, I would have the Mac that I would quote unquote run the Mac, and I had to make sure that was plugged in, everything was connected properly, um, and I had the QLab we use, make sure QLab was set up correctly and it was ready to go. I could push the buttons, trigger what I needed to. So
yeah,
yeah, had more. I have had more anxiety and stress from that. Uh,
yeah,
and even with Wishmaster, having the keyboard and all of the backing tracks there. It's like, I'm responsible for more stuff, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
nervous that, well, is something not going to work? Like, is the memory card just going to take a poop, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how the entire show is done for? And
Yeah.
that's why you have to have that's a case for, make backups, and you
Yes.
have extra chords, and you plan
Yes.
for failure, but
Yes.
you expect success but plan for failure, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it all works. And sometimes there's some duds. Luckily, I've never had a gig where my amp dies, or my, like, sometimes you think the worst. You're like, what if my strap breaks and my bass falls to the floor and the neck breaks? I don't know. It's stupid things you think of, but you sometimes can't help yourself about thinking
Yeah.
about the worst. But
Yeah.
you prepare and you prepare and you prepare, and you write stuff down. Make sure you have a list of gear. Even with that, there's times I've left the house, I got all my gear, it's in the car. I get halfway down the road and I pull over and I pop the trunk, and I'm like, okay, I got my bass, or I got my keyboards, I got my chords, I got my bag, I got my bum, 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 bum,
Triple
bum, bum,
checking.
bum, bum. And then you're like,
Yep.
oh, okay. Then I feel better. So yeah, and any musician that tells you they don't think about those things, I think they're lying. I think
Yeah.
everybody has
Yeah.
anxiety, and it's absolutely positively normal, because you'll want to be
Yeah.
prepared. You want to do a good job.
Yeah. Well, live performances are, I mean, you get one shot, you know, and so yeah, anything can go wrong in a live performance, especially from an electrical standpoint, you know.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so that does make you nervous. And if it's your own project, like with Anatomy of the Sacred, we're responsible, Shane and I are responsible for making sure that the show goes off without a hitch. And so, yeah, you have that whole burden on your shoulders, which creates more anxiety. But at the end of the day, the goal should always be to try your best to have a good time and enjoy what you're doing. Um, it's always great if you can have people helping, especially if they know what they're doing, to take some of that off of you. But the goal is to have a good time and connect with your audience. If you if you're enjoying yourself, your audience is going to enjoy themselves. If you're not enjoying yourself, your audience is going to see it. They're going to know. Um, so yeah.
Anyways, trying my best not to zone out because I have a camera on me. Um, anyways, um, this is a question for Brenda. What made you publish the book Winston and the Shoe?
Oh, okay. So we had a dog named Tess. She was about 14 years old, and she was really, really old. Um, and she unfortunately, we had to put her down because she started losing the ability to walk and her bodily functions and all that kind of good stuff. Because of course that's what happens when you have an older dog. But so our other dog, Willow, who grew up with her, grieved her really bad and wasn't getting over it. She was just extremely depressed. And so I talked to my husband and I'm like, we've got to get another dog because Willow's just not coming out of this. I mean, we thought she would, but she just wasn't. So we adopted Winston, an English Bull Terrier, same as Willow, through the Blue Ridge Bull Terrier Rescue Club. And he didn't come from a bad home. He was not a typical rescue dog, and he came from a really good home from a young lady that was moving out of her parents' house into her own apartment. She wasn't able to take him with her. Also, the expenses of taking care of a dog were getting a little much. So she decided to reach out to the rescue club that specialized in finding homes for bull terriers. And she just wanted to make sure that he got a really, really good home. And so we found him, and I'm shocked that we got him, but we got him. And because of his story and kind of how it worked with our story, I just knew that there was kind of something there, that there was something that had needed to be said. Okay. So in songwriting, um, there's a phrase that don't write a song unless you have something to say. So we definitely, I knew that there was something that needed to be said there. So I started off writing a song because that's more natural to me. But then I'm like, this is not a song. This is a book. And I've never written a book before. I didn't even know how to do it. So I thought, I'm going to take a stab at this. And I didn't tell anybody that I was doing it because I'd never done it before. I didn't want anybody to laugh at me or make fun of me or tell me, well, you can't do that. You've never done that before. So I worked on it by myself for about a year and a half and ended up sharing it with my husband and my kids to get their feedback. And so I shared it with my family, and my uncle said, "Hey, my cousin is a children's book author. She's published about 50 children's books, and I can have her take a look at it for you if you like." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that'd be awesome because I don't know what I'm doing." So she did, and she gave me a lot of pointers. Then I had another friend who had a friend that is a professional author who also took a look at it and gave me some pointers. And so I researched how to publish it and reached out to Amazon Publishing, went ahead and got it ready to go, submitted it. And within a week, I heard back that they were going to publish it. No questions asked, no changes, no edits, no nothing. And so that's kind of the story. But going back to the songwriting piece of it, I knew there was something there because of my own personal story. When I was growing up, um, I didn't necessarily have the greatest home life, and I lived with, you know, lots of family members, moved around a lot. Um, and I never really had kind of that home to call home. I had a lot of great people in my life, my stepmother, my stepfather, my aunts, my uncle, my grandma and grandpa. Um, but I kind of felt like I connected with Winston a little bit because he had lived with a little boy. The little boy became allergic to him, and so he had to find him a different home. So then he went and lived with his next mom, and and then from there he came to us. So I kind of felt like his story connected with my story, and so that's where in the book that final chapter kind of wraps it up and ties it all together. So yeah, I mean, it's all in trying. It's all in trying, because if you don't try, you're never going to know. And all you can do is fail. So, and I'm shocked that it didn't fail. Um, but my son helped me a lot. Spencer helped me a lot because he's super good at doing all kinds of editing and graphics and all kinds of good stuff like that. So, and writing, he's a songwriter himself, so he totally gets writing in general. But yeah, that's how that came about. So, yeah. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. So I
I
gave Raine a copy.
recommend I recommended it to my therapist, and she was like, "That's perfect for my great niece who I'm trying to get custody of. She was in the foster care system, and she's found her forever home with my therapist, who is her great aunt." Um, so she bought a copy. Um,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh,
I'll ask
that
her if
is
she read it.
awesome. Yay. Oh my goodness sakes. Oh,
So,
see, that's just so awesome. Thank
so Brenda,
you.
here's a question. When this kind of bridges the music royalties to book royalties, You don't have to like really say anything. This is just actually out of curiosity. Um, are have you actually seen any kind of profit from?
I have. I
Okay,
have. I mean, it's not a ton. It's not a ton, but
great.
so
And
what happens is Amazon published it at no cost to me. I mean,
yeah,
they do all the printing, they do all of the publishing, they do all of the distribution. Um, but here's the thing. I get royalties off of every sale. So I get a certain percentage. So the book sells for 14.95 on Amazon, and I set the price, but then I get a it's I think it's a 60/40 split, but it's not 60/40 based on the 14.95. They do it
yeah,
differently. So I
yeah.
only end up with, a very small amount.
Well, it's
But
yeah, it's
yeah,
structured to benefit Amazon, not you,
it is absolutely. But you
as
know
we all know.
what? I don't have the printing costs. I don't have any overhead. So I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Well,
And they do
yeah,
an excellent job.
yeah.
Um, but I actually have, I hate to say this, I've actually made more money on the book royalties than I have on music.
I hate to say that. That's kind of my ultimate question. I was like, are
I
you know,
haven't
is
I haven't hit $1,000 yet. Okay, so it's not a lot, but
so you're
I've not.
okay. Thus, Brenda is still substitute teaching. Therefore, and that's how we met Raine. So that was a bonus. That's a good thing for not making tons of money.
That's right. I mean, seriously, honestly, I have met so many awesome kids substitute teaching, and I just, and of course, Rain, you're one of my favorites.
You
So
can't say that out
yeah,
loud.
I sorry. Yeah, that's funny. I said one of. Well, thank you, Rain, for that, and thank you for recommending that book. I appreciate it. My hope is that it helps a lot of people
I
because there's
was
a lot of kids that know exactly how that feels. I mean, that book is not just for kids, it's for adults, it's for everybody, you know?
I, I was impressed with it when I looked through it. I'm like, this looks like, and this is coming from me. This looks like somebody knew what they were doing. So
Yeah.
and yeah, I know you said that Spencer. I can't say enough good things about Mr. Spencer, but I'm glad that he had a bit of influence in it. But yeah, I think the just some of the graphics and the the
Mhm.
how it was put together, organized, and so I mean, I couldn't do anything close. I couldn't do anything if I had a concept. It was really well done for
Yeah,
for a first project, for a first book. Yeah, it's not like a Stephen King, The Stand, a
no,
1,000+
no,
pages, but no,
no.
it really it I think it accomplished what you set out to
Yes.
do.
Yeah. I mean, it really does read like a song, I think. Um, I mean, lyrically, it reads like lyrics to me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I'm glad that I mean, because seriously, when I first started working on it, I'm like, this is stupid. You can't do this, And I know that everybody tells themselves that whenever they're trying to do something that they've never done before. So I had to fight through that, I had to fight to stay focused and try to give
That's
it my best, you
that's
know?
that's that's good to it's proof that doing that, forcing yourself to keep on going, even though you think, oh well, this isn't going to go anywhere, do anything. That's good proof that getting through that really makes
Yeah,
makes a difference.
yeah, absolutely. And I had always, I'm like, one of my bucket list things was I would love to try to write a book someday, but I'm not intending to be an author. I'm not intending to continue to write books or anything like that, but if something happens and I feel like something needs to be said and it's not a song, but it's a book, then I'll do it. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was just the right thing to do at the right time.
you done
So,
good.
yeah. What else you got for us, Miss Rain?
Um, what's good advice for someone like me who is just starting out music, writing, and that type of stuff?
Rain, honestly, just try. Don't quit. Don't quit. Even if you think something's stupid, don't quit. Because you never know what some little piece of idea could turn into. You just never know. That's how stuff is born. You know what I mean? It's the minute little things that grow into something absolutely beautiful. So
Y-
just don't give up. Keep trying
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to try new things. So that's my advice.
Well,
Shane?
well, touching on what you just said, um, I have tons of ideas that have sat there and gone nowhere for weeks, months, and years. And some of them have somehow, I'm like, I'll go back to them, I'll listen to them again. I'm like, and I'll do something else. And I come back to them again, and I go, and then one day I'll listen to them, poof, something
Yeah.
comes to be, oh, okay. And that develops. So yeah, just taking ideas. Sometimes it just takes the right moment, just like Brenda wrote the book and said, it just took the right circumstances to make that
Yes.
happen. Yeah, ideas. I've had tons of them that have sat idle for years. Like Narcissi. I think Raine, you had
Yeah.
mentioned you like that song. That one that was an idea from 2004, something like that. I mean, that's what 21 years ago. But that one sat
Wow.
idle for a long time. And then Brenda came along and poof, it had new life. And I
Yeah.
wrote that the music and I just really didn't do anything with it. And then Brenda got a hold of it and it went somewhere, now we have Narcissi.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, if you go back to, kind of your original question, more simplistic, um, we talked a little bit about, a musician. Where do you start? What do you do? Um, a lot of people have to suck. Almost everybody sucks at the beginning. Eddie Van Halen sucked, Jimi Hendrix and so forth. They all sucked when they started. And, even sports, LeBron James sucked when he started. Everybody had to suck. Um, Now, if you take me, like with basketball, I sucked and I never got past that phase. I always like to tell people I'm a musician because I can't dance and I can't do sports. That's, my contribution. Back in high school, I was always on that team. We literally played the gym teacher. There was like 6 or 7 of us versus one of him, and he beat us. He's like foom foom foom, making shots from the half court. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off the subject. Most people have to, um, you know, really do poorly for a while, and then something really clicks. Like playing bass, it'll click, or something will be like, oh yeah. I remember one time I played a gig, and like I said, I'm not a huge Led Zeppelin fan, but there was one time while I was in a groove, it really felt right, and it made sense at that time. We were playing Since I've Been Loving You, and it's like, oh, this just really, all the times that we practiced it, it just didn't really click. But that one time, it was like, yeah, this is. Ding, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's a super slow song, but yeah, really, really, at that time, it just made sense. So that's music,
Yeah.
that's art. Um, a lot of times it just has to be at the right time with the right inspiration. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of working on it, working on it, working on it, and pow, there it is. Um, Sometimes it's really tough to get through those times when you practice. It's like, I'm just not getting this, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting this. Don't give up. Like I think Brenda said that at the beginning. Don't give up. Don't say I I'm just going to stop, and I maybe put it to the back burner. That's a lot of what I just said. A lot of material sat on the back burner for a long time and didn't do anything, and then it someday, one day it was like, yeah, this is making
Yeah.
sense, and it came together. But sorry, I'm
Yeah.
rambling now.
No, I mean it's my thought is that whenever you're writing music, or you're performing, whatever, um, those ideas, if they're ideas, then they have a season that they're supposed to be there. They're supposed to be born at some certain time, and there's a purpose for them. So, you know, that purpose um, may have to wait until the right people come along to make it happen. It may be that you're going to hand off something to somebody else, and then that person is going to take that idea and run with it and do something with it. It
Yeah.
may be,
Yep.
you just have to be patient, and you have to know that everything, there's a season and a reason for everything. You have to make sure that you just watch for things and act when you're supposed to act on something and wait when you're supposed to wait.
Yeah, it's what you just said is kind of good. That collaboration. Sometimes it takes a collaboration for an idea to really take off and go
Mhm.
somewhere. Again, like that. I think it might have been called Idea 128. Or
Yeah.
Idea 58 or something like that. That
It was 128.
Narcissi ended up uh, taken off from there. So yeah, sometimes it does take collaboration. Some people, that's interesting. That's a whole other subject, collaboration versus one person writing. Prince was really good at he could do everything, or Devin Townsend. That's another good example.
Mhm.
Bernie Taupin
Yeah.
and Elton John. I
Yeah.
mean, how much magic has been produced by those two together? And
Yeah.
Elton John couldn't have written the lyrics. Bernie Taupin couldn't have written the music. So,
Right.
sometimes it takes that, you know, Raine, if
Yeah.
you keep on playing bass or you want to write it, you might decide this is not for you, and you might go on to doing something else. But yeah, it's a journey. You figure it out as you go, and
Yep.
just keep at
But
it.
it's the love of it that will keep you at it. You know what I mean? If you love it, you're going to keep at it. And but don't get discouraged, and don't let anybody tell you to stop. Don't, I mean, if somebody laughs at you, you just work right through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, Rain, do you have one more question for us before we go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I like making a lot of noise. Um, I noticed listening to your song Narcissi how powerful it is. What drove you to make it?
So, Shane, this is one of those things where the music existed before we even knew each other. Um, And I had gone through a really bad marriage, and was married to a gentleman who was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, which you would be shocked how bad that impacts a family. When somebody refuses to work, when somebody, believes things that are just absolutely crazy, when somebody won't let you take your child to the emergency room because, they think that, well, we should just pray about it. I'm like, are you just, so, and there just was a whole bunch of other stuff that I experienced, but that I always wanted to write a song about that experience because it was so traumatic for me. Um, but I never knew if it was ever going to happen because that was a long time ago. And when Shane and I met and I heard the music and we started working on writing songs together, I don't Shane, had I written the lyrics to Narcissi before, or did I start working on it?
I thought that was one you had prior to us meeting or somewhere along the way.
Okay. I don't remember if some of the lyrics existed beforehand. I know just one night, the lyrics existed before I knew Shane, and his music existed before we knew each other, and they just happened to fit perfectly together. when we met and started working on things. So Just One Night is a very, very special song as well. But Narcissi, I wrote the lyrics. I think we both worked on the vocal melody for that. But that song is based on a true story and a personal experience. And just my way of doing something that was cathartic. That was my final way of closing the door on that experience and
Yep.
saying goodbye to it. And hopefully helping other people so that they recognize that in relationships and they get out of it and they don't go down that path. Because it never ends up well. So yeah.
Just for the record, it's idea 126. I found it. And it's from 2006.
Wow.
So
Isn't that something? Yeah, I bet you never dreamt in a million years that would end up like what it did. And I never dreamt vice versa. See, you just never know. You just never know. You never know. That's why you gotta be open to possibilities. And I mean, you have to be, you can't be open to everything because there's some things that aren't good out there. And you can't work with everybody because not everybody has your best interest at heart. Okay. You have to trust people. But I would have never have dreamt that. I mean, that's a great song, it's a great song. And boy, oh boy, do I enjoy performing it.
and I can share a real quick snippet here if you want. Here is the 2008 version. I'm gonna try to share the sound. Let's try this. Share this. Here's media player.
Oh, wow.
Can you hear it? Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
You
I
don't
can't hear.
You don't hear the audio here?
You hear just a little bit of something, but
Do you hear any audio at all?
I just hear like some bass thumping a little bit, but I don't know.
Okay.
Raine, did you hear any of that?
Yes, I heard all of it.
You did. Okay,
Oh.
cool. Right?
I mean,
Cool.
that's the old version with no lyrics.
Isn't that something? In your list there, it says Narcissi or Spin.
Anyways,
That's from
yeah.
2014. Oh man, yeah. I remember us thinking about the whole spin idea, song idea. So yeah. Yeah. You never know. And some ideas are just duds, and you got to let them go. You
Oh,
got to
yeah.
recognize
Yeah.
a dud. If it's a dud, let it go. Maybe keep a few remnants of it, but if it's not a dud, there's probably something there that you need to develop.
Well, so I'm gonna take one moment to say, here's where Brenda and Scott both said you need to write that whole song around that ending riff. That's
Yeah.
the woods. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, I want it the way it is. And we eventually landed on Brenda did come up with the idea. We were sitting here in this room jamming on this, and she's like, well, let me try something. And she, at the very end of the song, she repeated all the lyrics again at the very end. And she's like, yeah, that sounds like it'll work. And then that's where we said, this is the structure of the song. So the woods ended up being, I won that battle where she won most of the other battles. I won this battle, but I thought, no, I want it this way. And sometimes you do have to say,
Yeah.
and I really feel strongly about something.
Yeah.
You'll probably be thinking to yourself, well, when do I know when to stick my guns and when to adapt, when to collaborate, when to, negotiate something. You won't know it, but you'll get better at it as you get older. You'll get better at knowing, no, I I
Yeah.
really feel strongly about this one. I'm not going to
Yeah.
give in to this. And there's other
Yeah.
times that, yeah.
Well, I remember on the Woods that when we were in the dude, I don't know if we were doing the pre-production tracks or what, but Scott wanted to get rid of the piano at the very end.
Oh,
And I said,
really?
no,
Wow.
no, absolutely not. That is the hook for the song. It has to stay there. That is the hook for the song. And so yeah, but yeah, I love that song. That's one of my favorites too. I like all of
And
them.
that ending part, I messed around with the delay to get it to delay the
Mhm.
exact amount that I wanted. Sometimes that's, you say about sitting there and mess with it. Might have taken a couple hours to get that the way I wanted it. And
Yeah.
really, sometimes that's fun. To some people, that's fun. Like I would spend hours and hours and hours, literally, looking for keyboard samples or string samples, just the right sample. Well, especially synth. For some reason, I just can't ever find the right synth sound. Um,
Yeah.
but with string or some other instruments, I'm usually looking for more of a realistic sample. Um, anyways, yeah, some of that stuff really takes hours. I don't know how like sound engineers go through the process of, I mean, so the mastering part of things, we don't have to get too deep into it. The mastering part seems to be elephant magic, like what Washkovich does, Michael Washkovich, that he mastered the EP. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he hears the frequencies, and he's like, I'm listening to the high end frequency of the guitar, and I'm going to put it over here. I mean, literally, that's what he does. He's putting it here or here, and I'm talking about like a map of stereo listening.
Mhm.
He's able to pick out frequencies and put them here. The drums, the snap of the snare is here, and the kick, the snap of the kick or the high end part of it is here. It's it's really pretty amazing, but
That's an art. That's an
it is an
art
art.
within itself.
So
Yeah.
it all kind of comes full circle to, again, getting back to, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of work, and sometimes realizing let's not go down that path. Uh, and other times, yes, I'm gonna stick at this. I'm gonna stick with
Yep.
it and get it to where I want it. I'm not gonna give up.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
anyways,
Well, Miss Raine, we have very, very much enjoyed talking with you today and getting to know you as well. And we hope that you've enjoyed this time with us, learning about Anatomy of the Sacred and all the backstory. And so yeah, thank you so much for having us.
No problem. I would love to see how long we could actually just sit and talk for. Like,
Oh my goodness, we could talk for hours,
probably.
hours, hours about this
if
stuff.
if
Honestly.
you could probably ask Brenda to take her webcam and spin around the room that she's in, and I bet you we could spend an hour talking about all of the artwork on her walls, because the
Yeah,
one right behind Brenda above her head, that is a Renee Robin.
yeah, yeah. They're
Yep,
right
that one
there.
right there. And you
Yep.
can see over a little bit to the right is some stuff from
Oh,
anatomy. But yeah, there's a
I
all
don't
of
know if you can
those
see. No,
all
you
those
can't see
pieces of
it.
art really have stories that you could she could tell you all
Mhm.
about.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
ask
Huh.
ask Brenda. I don't see the violin anywhere. How's the violin doing there, Brenda?
The violin is doing great. It's sitting right over there,
Oh, there it is. Okay,
collecting
I see it. Yep.
collecting dust.
I'm giving Brenda a hard time. She spent a little bit of time learning the violin, and I don't, I'll be honest, I don't know how there's no frets. It's fretless. Um I the guitarists and bass players honestly cheat because we have frets.
Yeah.
How does a violin player know where on the neck to play? It's very challenging, and violins are tuned in fifths, not like the basses are in fourths. Guitars are, in fourths, except for the other strings, the top strings. But anyways,
Well, someday I'm gonna nail that. Not today.
My girlfriend could probably answer all those questions about violins. She's been playing violin since she was like 7.
Oh wow.
my daughter graduated from Ithaca College as a music education professional. She has not taught any, you know, classes since that. She's now a chef, but I think she's very happy doing that. But in her college career, she had to pick one instrument from every group, and of course, she played violin. She she picked trombone, I guess piano. I don't know as far as percussion or woodwind, but yeah, in her education, she had to pick an instrument to learn. I don't know anything about flute, clarinet, saxophone, bassoon, English horn. Those are real mysteries to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And my voice.
And it's a good one at that. So
I'm a master of my voice. So funny. All right, Miss Raine, thank you again. Thank your dad for getting you set up to record this. I have a copy, and so if you need me to download that or send that to you via the cloud or whatever, I can do that. Just let me know, okay?
No problem. You guys have a great day. See you Monday. I'll be turning your
Yeah.
webcam
See you
Monday.
Monday. All right. Well,
So
next week is last week with you guys. Did you?
that's sad.
Mr.
rock and roll.
Pagano's coming back. Yeah, Mr. Pagano's coming back. So okay, you can see me on socials.
Yep. Talk to you whenever.
Have a good day.
Have a good